Hi students, welcome to biology class. Before starting the new chapter called as Plant Kingdom, let me give you some instructions regarding the 11th standard NCERT biology textbook. The first chapter is the living world and the second chapter is the biological classification. These two chapters what you have in your NCERT, these are the most basic chapter. When I say basic chapter, it means that lot of biology is not been included, but these are prerequisite to study the biology, or these two chapters cover the introductory biology or basics to learn about biology. It may be how to define a living organisms, what are the characteristics of a living organisms, etc. You have studied in the living world, and in the second chapter you have studied about biological classification, where you are going to study, where you have already studied how or on what basis these organisms are classified. You have very nicely studied about Aristotle's system of classification and Linnaeus system of classification, as well as R.H. Whittaker system of classification. There I think you have got an idea about how the living organisms are being classified. So the now third chapter, that is called as a Plant Kingdom. Okay, from here the actual biology syllabus is going to start for you all. So now you can expect for a bit lengthy video, because most of the things cannot be covered within 10 minutes or 12 minutes or so. So from now onwards, maybe the video will be around 15 to 20 minutes. Okay, because I think many of them are they are studying for NEET examination and all those things, and for this even NEET examination or KBPY examinations, for them they have to have a thorough knowledge, or they have to have a in-depth knowledge about what they are studying. So from now onwards, or from this video onwards, the videos will be quite bigger in length of the time as time is concerned. Okay, now let's start this next chapter called Plant Kingdom. As I told you, now the actual biology syllabus is going to start, and whatever you studied till today, it was the introduction for the upcoming chapters. So as we have already studied, what is the meaning of the word kingdom? I told you it is the highest order of classification. It is the highest order of classification. See here. So what is the kingdom? What is kingdom? It is the highest order of classification. So when I say highest order of classification, it means that whatever you have, that is genus, species, family, phylums and all those things, they come later on. So whenever you look for an organism, first we are going to classify it, or first we are going to place it in a kingdom, to which kingdom it belongs, whether Monera, Protista, fungi, plant or Animalia. Then we are going for the thorough study of that particular organism, and then we are going for the phylum, family and genus, class, order and all those things. Yes or no? Now here we have to understand kingdom, as it is the highest order of the classification. And here what kingdom we are studying? We are studying about the plant kingdom. It means we are studying all the groups of the plants, all the types of the plants. So here plant kingdom means what? All the plants, they are being kept under this particular kingdom. The plant may be microscopic or macroscopic. Plant may be very tiny or it may be very huge. It may be found in aquatic or it may be terrestrial. It may be found in water or it may be found in land. Irrespective of their size, shape, and where they are found. Okay, if a organism is green in color, if they are photoautotropic, I mean if they are able to produce their food by using light energy, okay, then they can be classified as the plant. So this is the general definition for a plant. Okay, now let us study in detail about this particular plant kingdom. Now, for the ease or for the convenience, always in biology we have a lot of classification. Now you may wonder why so many classification are there in biology. See, biology becomes very difficult without classification. Okay, you should not say classification is difficult, because without classification biology will become too much difficult. Okay, so when we say plant kingdom, again for the ease or for the convenience, okay, we have to divide it into different groups. Now basically the whole of the plant kingdom actually can be divided into two main groups. One is called cryptogams, and other one is called phanerogams. One is called cryptogams, other one is called phanerogams. Now what do we mean by cryptogams? So here basically most of the words in biology, they are Latin terms. Okay, so we have to split it. Now here gamous or gamete refers to fusion, of course. So gamous refers to okay, it refers to marriage. Okay, and here crypto refers to hidden. I'll come to this meaning later on. Now phanero, it refers to evident. Of course, gamous refers to the marriage. Now when we see the meaning here, or when we split the word and see, cryptogams means marriage, means here they are the gametes actually. So cryptogams refers here the gametes or the spores are hidden. Okay, and phanerogamous means here the marriage is seen, that is we are going to see the gametes, or we are going to see the structure. It may be, or you can also call this, these are seedless, or they are not, you can say that they are not producing seeds, and these are producing seeds. This would be very easy for you, producing seeds. So when we say plant kingdom basically have two classification again. One is called cryptogams, other one is called phanerogams. So crypto refers to hidden, gamous refers to the marriage. Here the gametes or spores are hidden, that is the reproductive structures are not seen clearly, or you can't find them easily, or we cannot find them at a single glance. Okay, they are called as cryptogams. And here phanerogams means, gams means we know it's marriage, and phanero refers to evident. It means what? Whatever reproductive structures we have in the plant, they are evident, or you can find them very easily. So this is the meaning of cryptogams and phanerogams. Okay, please remember this. The whole plant kingdom has been divided into cryptogams and phanerogams. Now let us see what are the group of the plants which comes in cryptogams. Basically the group of the plants which comes in cryptogams are, if I make here, it would be easy. One is called algae, other one is bryophytes, I think this is visible, and other one is pteridophytes, algae, bryophytes and pteridophytes. Now what is this? This is the plants which come under cryptogams. Here means what? The seeds or the reproductive structures are not seen clearly with our naked eyes maybe, or even if they are visible, they are not clearly visible, or the structures are not distinct. This word is beautiful for this. Okay, reproductive structures are not distinct, but here the reproductive structures are distinct. Okay, so what are the group of plants which comes under cryptogams? If they ask, it's algae, bryophytes and pteridophytes. Now what are these phanerogams? These are seed producing plants. Seed is a reproductive structure. I need not repeat this. Seed is a reproductive structure. You already know seed is a reproductive structure. So here the group of plants which produce seeds, they are gymnosperms, Gymnosperms, gymnosperms and angiosperms. Okay, phanerogams, these are seed producing plants. I told you evident, phanero, actually it's a Latin word, it starts from F. So these phenograms means the reproductive structures are very much evident, okay, and you can see the reproductive structures very clearly here, and the plants are gymnosperms and angiosperms. Okay, now let us in detail study about each group, and today I will be taking algae. Okay, in plant kingdom. Today first let us discuss about algae. Okay, now the first question is, what are algae, where they are found? Okay, this is the first question. So when we say algae, these are, I told you already, all the group of plants which are coming under kingdom Plantae or plant kingdom. They are photoautotropic, that is, they can prepare their food by using the light. So the first character of algae, that is, they are CHLOROPHY, chlorophyll bearing. They are chlorophyll bearing autotropic thalloid aquatic organisms. See, if you remember this definition, you can remember a lot of the points. They are chlorophyll bearing. Chlorophyll is green in color. Okay, they are chlorophyll bearing. They are autotropic. Obviously, if they are having the chlorophyll pigment, then they will be autotropic. Okay, then thalloid. What does this refer? I have told this in previous class. Thalloid means here the root system and the shoot system is not well differentiated. Now if you take a mustard plant, or if you take a hibiscus plant, or if you take a coconut tree, okay, here the root system and the shoot system is very distinct. If you see a coconut tree, these are the leaves of coconut tree, this is the stem, and this is the root of a coconut plant or a coconut tree. Yes or no? Here the root system and the shoot system is very much distinct or very much clear. Okay, but when we say thalloid, here the root system and the shoot system is undifferentiated. That is, we do not have two separate systems. Okay, all are integrated within it. Okay, and next is aquatic organisms. So algae, okay, of course they are also found, some of the algae are also found in the moist soil, but most of the algae are aquatic organisms. Okay, now when we say they are aquatic organisms, they are both found in fresh water and marine water. Now many of them has confusion with this fresh water and marine water. See, when I say fresh water, it doesn't mean ROUV filtered water. Okay, fresh water means the water which do not have any salts or which do not have lot of salt. So when we say marine water, it is saline water. If you go to any beach and taste water, it is very salty. So marine water means it's very salty water because salt concentration is too high. Okay, fresh water example is your you can also take an example of well water or sea water, etc. So that is the fresh water. It has very less amount of the salt. So here algae, they are chlorophyll bearing means they have chlorophyll pigment. They are autotropic means they can prepare their own food. They are thalloid. It means what? They do not have a separate root system and shoot system. That is, they have undifferentiated root and shoot system. Then aquatic organisms, they are found in water, both in fresh water and marine water. Okay. Now let us see their structure. When you see their structure, let me write here. When you see their structure, you can find these algae. You can find in many types. That some are unicellular. Uni refers to single. Cellular refers to what? Cella refers to cell. Some algae are single cell. The one cell itself makes the whole organism. Okay, they are called unicellular algae. Okay, one cell itself make a whole organism. Then it is called unicellular algae. One cell itself makes the algae. Okay, example is Chlorella. Chlorella is the best example, or Chlamydomonas, CHLY, Chlamydo, CHLMY, monas. Okay, Chlorella and Chlamydomonas are the best example for the what? Unicellular. Then we also have colonial. So when we say unicellular, some unicellular, algae, they like to remain isolated or they like to remain lonely. But some are colonial forms. Now what do you mean by colonial forms? Many algae, they form a group, okay, or many different, not different, same algae, but they will form a big colony. They will live together, okay. Then they are called as colonial form. The best example is Volvox. In a Volvox colony, all the cells are together, okay. They are found in the common mucilaginous sheath, okay. So this is colonial. And next is, we also have filamentous algae. Now what is this filamentous algae? Filamentous algae means some of the algae are found as a filament. Best example is Spirogyra. Best example is Spirogyra. Spirogyra and Ulothrix. Okay, so these are the filamentous algae. Now when you see the reproduction in case of the algae, okay, let me use another paper. When we see reproduction in these algae, how is the reproduction? Reproduction is of three types, that is vegetative, asexual and sexual reproduction. Vegetative reproduction, asexual and sexual reproduction. So how does the vegetative reproduction takes place? See, I have already told you some algae are filamentous, okay. Due to the water current maybe, or due to the animal bite, the filament may get a cut, okay. Now each filament will develop into a new algae or new filament, okay. If it gets cut from here, this will grow into another algae, this will grow into another algae, this will grow into another algae. So this is called as vegetative reproduction. This is in case of filamentous form. Sometimes what happens, as I already told you, many or some algae, they live in a colony. Sometimes due to some mechanical engineering, the colony itself gets cut. Now this colony will develop into a new colony, this colony will develop into a new colony, okay. So this is vegetative, also called as fragmentation. Fragmentation of a filament, fragmentation of a colony. If the filaments get fragmented, then it is called fragmentation of filament. If the colony gets cut or fragmented, then it is called as fragmentation of a colony. Now next one is asexual. Asexual means what? Here there is no fusion. Actual fusion doesn't takes place. And asexual reproduction usually takes place by the formation of zoospores. So this usually takes place in the unfavorable condition, when there is water scarcity and all other things. Cytoplasmic content get condensed, and they start forming the spores. They are called as zoospores. Usually they are being shaped with a flagell, okay. These are asexual. Then sexual reproduction is of very important here, because there are three types. One is called as isogamous, anisogamous, and oogamous. Three types: isogamous, anisogamous and oogamous. When I say isogamous, see here, the gametes what are formed during the gametogenesis, that is gamete formation, they are similar, that is they are morphologically similar. Now if one gamete is like this, the another gamete also will be like this, okay. Morphologically means the perception. When you see the algae when you see the gamete, okay, both of them look similar. Both male and female gamete look similar and they are of the same size. When I say isogamous. When I say anisogamous, what happens here is they may be flagellated, but they may be flagellated, but the size may vary. Okay, size may vary, but they are flagellated. Best example is Chlamydomonas. Here the best example is Spirogyra. In case of Spirogyra, it is isogamous type. Isogamous type means what? The gametes are morphologically similar. Okay, anisogamous means what? They are morphologically dissimilar, but they are flagellated. Don't get confused here. Most of the students get confused here. They feel that these are not flagellated. Okay, they are flagellated, but here they are morphologically dissimilar. Then oogamous means the female gamete is larger one. The female gamete is larger one, and the male gamete is smaller but motile. Male gamete is small but motile. The female gamete is large but immotile. Okay. Best example is volvox and fucus. Okay. This we have to keep in mind. Okay. Isogamous, anisogamous, and oogamous. Yes, children, please do share this video with this. This completes our first part, that is algae. Of course, significance of algae is there, which we will be covering in the next video. So I have a request, please do like my video, share this, and give your valuable feedback. When you give comments, I understand where to improve. I understand your basic need, what you want from my video. Okay, so please do comment, like, and please share this video with the students, especially at this time, that is COVID-19 pandemic. Okay, thank you.